Herzlich willkommen zur internationalen
A cordial welcome on the occasion of the International Press Conference 2022 from the Hofgut Wadenbrunn. We are very happy to have you here, just right here on the field. This is exactly where our farmers are at home and do their work. It's great to have such a large group of international European journalists here on site. However, I would also like to kindly welcome all those journalists that are connected live. It is mainly journalists from North America, South Africa, Australia and New Zealand. A cordial welcome to you. Good morning and good evening. Now, let me also point out up front that throughout this press conference here today, you will have the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. We have a dedicated chat tool for this purpose. Please use this opportunity because we'd be happy to answer your questions. Now, let us get started right away, and we shall have a speaker who was here like last year. He talked about the brand new eco strategy, Farmers First. What has developed ever since will be reported on right now. Let us jointly welcome the Chairman, President and CEO of AGCO, Eric Hansotia. Cordial welcome to you.
Welcome, everybody. How exciting to have journalists from all around the world with us today to share in the excitement of our exciting story going on. You know, I get the chance to set the stage for today and really let some of our experts paint the color. But really what I'm going to set the stage with is the exciting growth story happening at AGCO. You just have to look at our last few years and see the dramatic increase in sales and more dramatic increase in profitability. Our sales have been up 37% and profitability up almost 300%. Now, we've had a good market. We understand that. But at the same time, AGCO has been working very, very hard to get super close to our customers. We intend to be the most farmer-focused company in the industry, understanding the farmer's pain points, understand the agronomy of the crop, the economics that the farmer's under, and then understanding how AGCO can help them be more profitable, be more productive, and be more sustainable. These all lead to us adding more value to the farmer and in turn capturing some of that value for ourselves. So we've had a good track record, but more importantly, today's about talking about the future and where we're headed. We're going to talk about a lot of things, product and dealers and things. But if I had to simplify it down, it's really three major growth engines. And I'll cover those here for a minute. The first growth engine I'm going to start with is about precision agriculture. Now, this is all about being able to understand those farmer problems. It starts with what is the issue? How is the farmer struggling with something? And then in many cases, we look for solutions through technology, finding ways to put sensors on the machine, having those sensors understand the environment that the machine is operating in, see when conditions are changing in the soil or in the crop, and then have the machine use machine learning and artificial intelligence to, right there in the moment, make adjustments to optimize how that machine's performing. Essentially shift to autopilot mode so that the farmer can not have to deal with that complicated task and instead pay attention to other things. So that's the kind of technology we've been investing in. We've invested heavily in our internal engineering group, raising our engineering budget by $60 to $80 million each year for the last few years. We've also bought several companies. 6 companies we bought, 2 more we invested in. This is all to accelerate our opportunity to develop these precision ag solutions. Now, we come to market in a couple different ways. One of them is to bring them on our machines. Like you saw, all of those technology-rich loaded features on the Fendt 700. That's a great way, coming from the factory. And we use our Fuse brand to cover some of those solutions. But we also have a different channel. We call it retrofit. And essentially, this is when we take a technology module, a precision agriculture opportunity, and we sell it directly to a farmer to put on their existing machine. Take a less capable machine and then turn it into a highly capable cutting-edge technology machine. And oftentimes, this allows that farmer to recognize the benefits of this precision ag technology, on that machine at a much lower cost point. So we have two channels, our OEM machinery channel and our retrofit channel. We go to market that way through our Precision Planting brand. Second growth engine is all about growing our service and parts business. And essentially the shift here is going from reactive to proactive. Instead of waiting for an issue to happen and having the farmer call us, more and more we're moving to a situation where we're trying to anticipate before the issue happens how to serve our customer better. Be a true partner. We have a lot of connected machines now. Our entire large ag fleet is connected, so we can remotely monitor when a machine is coming up on a service interval, or identify, in many cases, a component that's going to fail before it fails. This allows us to be able to work with the farmer to be able to handle that issue before it actually happens. That allows the dealer to be more of a partner, and it grows our service and parts business. So that's engine number 2. And engine number 3 is why we're here today. It's all about our Fendt business and growing it globally. Now you can look around the pavilion here and see the full line of Fendt products. We've been investing over the last several years hundreds of millions of dollars to bring to the market the absolute top performing Fendt lineup. They're the best in the industry, no question. Just ask our farmers. We've got planters, sprayers, full line of tractors, hay equipment, combines, and lots more. So we're a full partner for the farmer now across the entire Fendt brand. Our opportunity is to now take that full line global. And so as we think about taking it global, we've got this opportunity to look for those farmers, wherever they may reside around the world, that want the best of the best. They've got the highest demands in terms of technology and productivity. They're thirsty for the new technology to make sure that their farm is operating at its peak. But they also care about sustainability, and they demand outstanding, best in the industry customer support. You put all that together, we call that the Fendt experience. It's the collection of all of those things. So we're very carefully, step by step, generating the Fendt experience in these other markets, places like North America, South America, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and other places. All of those places are loaded with farmers that have these same requirements. But we're being very careful. We're wanting to make sure we never disrupt that top quality, better than anybody else in the industry Fendt experience. And so we're only turning on store-by-store locations. Not even an entire dealer can sell the Fendt brand. Only some of the stores that meet the highest qualifications. So that's what we're doing about distribution. But at the same time, we're continuing to innovate. I talked to you about the smart ag solutions. That's making the machine more capable, making it be able to optimize its performance on its own. In parallel to that, we're working on solutions to bring low carbon or zero carbon renewable energy solutions to the marketplace. You've already heard us talk about the electric tractor. We call it the E100. We're going to bring that to the market here in the next couple years, and it's providing an electric solution, fully electric solution, for the low horsepower opportunities for a farm. We're in parallel, we're working with a project called H2 Agrar for a hydrogen solution, hydrogen fuel cells for the high horsepower solutions. We think electric doesn't make sense when you get up into the high horsepower. So we're working on both at the same time, and then hybrid for the middle. So those are just a few small examples of what we're doing to drive our 3 growth engines, the importance the Fendt business plays, and how we're investing in distribution. We're investing in our product. We're investing in our people to make sure that Fendt can remain the best of the best for the most demanding customers out there. Thank you.
Vielen Dank, Eric Hansotia.
Eric Hansotia, thank you so much. He will be back later on the stage so that you might want to raise your questions. Eric Hansotia just talked about the growth engines to ensure that Fendt as a brand can grow globally. How this makes itself felt in the growth markets of North America, South America, Australia and New Zealand will now be presented by Torsten Dehner, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Vario and Fendt Global.
Well, first of all, I would like to welcome everybody present, all the participants also worldwide. During the next few minutes, I would like to talk about our Fendt full-line growth and also the focus markets. Now, these are North America, South America, South Africa, and Australia, New Zealand. Now, let us actually start with the region that is farthest away from us in geographical terms, that is to say farthest away from Wadenbrunn, which is Australia, New Zealand. Now, here we offer a multitude of ranges, that is to say tractors, green harvest technology, and the Fendt Ideal Combine. Now, let us quickly talk about the market and also the harvest situation in Australia, New Zealand. Solid amounts of rain, of course, make us expect a good harvest. Overall, we can also say that there are good sales prices for agricultural products. In 2021, the tractor markets in New Zealand, Australia was at a good level, well above the 10-year average. Now, what does this mean for Fendt in Australia, New Zealand? Well, in 2021, we have experienced the strongest year in Fendt's history in Australia, New Zealand, with a plus of 26%. Now, let us take a look at the situation in the tractor markets in Australia and New Zealand, but let's also take a deep dive into the other products. In professional farmers and also contractors in Australia and New Zealand, we were able, particularly with the new model year 2021, Fendt 900 experienced major growth. Now, we also get very good feedback for the tracked and smart farming features. Now, when it comes to tracked tractors, we have seen that order entry in Australia and New Zealand has been doubled versus the previous year. For combines, we see the popularity of the Fendt Ideal is growing, and also in New Zealand, the first Fendt Ideal is actually in operation. Let me now quickly talk about green harvest technology in Australia and New Zealand. We do see some cooling off, which is due to the rain and a good green harvest coverage. The market for round balers, for instance, has gone down by 21%, but not for Fendt. The Fendt sales, of course, have a different trend because we have already reached our 2021 goal. That is to say, those with foil wrappers are completely sold out. So products that we will launch would be the carrier Fendt Rogator 900 in late 2022, and also the precision seed drill Momentum, which will and can be ordered as of 2023. Now, we also expand our product range in South Africa, starting our dealer network. Since 2021, we have been using our own network for Fendt machines and have actually been able to expand the range of machines considerably. On top of that, there's the favorable situation in South African agriculture. The harvest 2020-2021 has been a record year for maize and also soybean. Both factors had a positive impact onto our sales. In 2021, with the launch of our network, tractor sales increased 6 times in South Africa. Now, during recent years, there have been new products for our products and customers with large areas, and that is the Fendt Ideal and tracked tractors. Moreover, we do see extensive products and opportunities for special crops, and that would be, of course, wine and fruits. Right now, the focus is on expanding our network regarding coverage, location, and new sales areas. Now, to strengthen our dealer network is also a very important topic in South America, specifically in Brazil. Specifically in Brazil, we offer machines that cater to the requirements of the highly professional large enterprises. In some regions in Brazil, 2 to 3 harvests per year are doable. This is why direct seeding is done at the same time with a harvest. And as you can see on this slide, this is exactly what we see here, the Fendt Ideal and right followed by the Fendt Vario with our Momentum planter. Our Fendt machines are very well received by customers in South America, especially in Brazil, because the machines help to actually exploit the window for the harvest and planting in a very efficient fashion. Now, this this brings down operational cost and increased yield. Now, in Brazil, our range covers the 900, the 1000, the Momentum, the Ideal, and in 2023, we will also expand our range by the Fendt 1100 Vario T-Track tractor as well. Now, customers in Brazil know the international agricultural technology very much and appreciate the performance of Fendt as a European premium brand. Now, with these technical solutions, we also set ourselves apart from our competitors in Brazil. Now, let me briefly talk about the dealers and the extension of the dealer network in Brazil. As with Sorriso and Mato Grosso, we started with one location. The locations grew in 2020 to 4, and in 2021 to 11, and this year to 22. Now, during my last day in Brazil in mid-July, I was able to actually meet with a number of customers and also participate in a number of openings of dealers. And if you, for example, take a look at the press releases of the Farmers Group in Primavera de Leste, if you haven't had a chance to see that and haven't seen the video yet, I would like to invite you to do so because it's most impressive. And it also shows the excitement of our customers and dealers in South America for the Fendt brand. Now, operations with large areas and enterprises with large areas are the most important customers for us in South America, and also in North America, where we offer a broader range than in South America. This means the large tractors, and that means tracked, but also wheel-based, the Momentum, the Rogator, and also the award-winning Ideal combine. Now, Fendt Ideal, of course, this season are already used, and the wheat harvest has almost been completed, and the Fendt Ideal has come up with fantastic results regarding throughput and also grain quality, also in North America. Now, for the row crop launch is to start within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, we also have some focus topics in North America in order to become more established in that market. Now, this, of course, relates to the awareness which we have been able to dramatically increase for the Fendt brand. And one of the success factors is Luke Bryan. He is a country star, and he is a customer, he's a farmer, and apart from all of that, and he is singing himself, and he's also part of the jury on American Idol. So he represents our Fendt customers in North America the same as the Fendt values. Fendt is also the official sponsor of the Luke Bryan Farm Tour. And again, there are YouTube videos that you can actually take a look at. There's ample opportunity to get some more information, and for us, it's a great initiative. Now, another focal topic in North America is the cooperation with the Universal Technical Institute in order to train mechanics in North America, specifically for agricultural equipment. Now, this is a unique cooperation between Fendt and this private educational institution. Another very important topic in North America is also to expand the dealer network. Now, in North America, we have increased our network to 75 dealers with more than 230 locations. Now, with this multitude of locations, we also cover the most important areas for Fendt customers in all of North America. Now, let me wrap up, let me come to a close, and let me also comment on our current status of growth and sales in North America. Total sales in North America, that is to say, regarding Challenge and Fendt tractors versus the Fendt tractors, has doubled since 2017. Now, this is a great achievement, and it shows how well and how much our products are appreciated in North America among our customers. Now, I would like to invite you, especially the journalists from North America, to join the Farm Progress Show in Iowa in Boone, and we will present some novelties, including the 700 in the row crop variation. Now, as you can see, Fendt growth is in full swing globally, but not only outside of Europe, but also within Europe. And Christoph Gröblinghoff is the next speaker to tell us more about it. But with that, I would like to hand back to you, Manja. Thank you. Thank you very much, Torsten.
Danke, Torsten.
Thank you, Torsten. Now, of course, this invitation is extended to the colleagues from North America and everybody else who wants to join the Farm Progress Show. Feel free to, of course, look at our stand. Now, if you have questions regarding the growth market, feel free to post them in the chat. Now, with that, of course, we actually hand over to somebody who started with the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, there's no relation, but he is so happy that this room is full of journalists because he would like to actually present the new market and business figures. So welcome here on stage the Vice President and Head of Brand of Fendt in Europe, Christoph Gröblinghoff.
Willkommen.
Hallo.
Welcome. Hello. Now, Mr. Gröblinghoff, I do know that you've got a number of topics to discuss. We will have to hurry, but before touching upon the individual items, let me ask you first and foremost. We are now in the third quarter of 2022, and again, it's not an easy year for the industry. So how is Fendt doing? Now, let me state, in this very excellent environment with all the journalists, it's great to see you again. Now, it's the third year of the COVID-19 crisis, and I can do crises, but let me also state that Fendt is faring excellently. We have learned our lessons from the past. We have got adjusted to the crisis, and I can just confirm that our order books, and this is very much in line with Eric's and Torsten's statements, are full in the wake of the expansion. We have about 10 to 12 months of a run-up, and yet another indication, of course, is that we have also invested in our employees. People might say, where are all the skilled workers, all the employees that are no longer around? And we provide evidence, I believe, that even before COVID, in 2019, across all the German sites, we had 5,900 employees. At the end of this year, we shall have another 1,000 employees, 6,700 employees, which, as I believe, is a very tangible number, clear-cut indication of the fact that Fendt is doing nicely at all the sites so that we are fit for the future. Let's take a closer look at the current business barometer of CEMA. I think you're all aware of that. We are still in a growth quadrant. How would you assess this development? Now, here you can see the curve starting in 2019, then 2020, so the decline due to COVID-19. But you can also see that now, for a total of 24 months, we have been in the growth quadrant. That's a clear-cut indication too, because we clearly see that also ultimately at the end of this year in November, December, 8 billion people need to be fed on this continent, which is a great challenge also for us. So that means agricultural prices are high as always. And our perspective is that for the next 24 months at least, we shall have stable agricultural pricing, but also, basically speaking, the markets will be up and running. So 24 months in a row in the growth corridor, and as a perspective, we shall continue along the same lines. Now the question arises, as this is a growth track, how can Fendt benefit from this boom? And what about the sales forecast this year when it comes to tractors? Well, Fendt 2020 indicated 20,000 units, and we have been working on this for 3 years now. Time and again, we have had supply chain issues which did not allow us to achieve this target, but we have got another 4 months to go, and I'm positive that this year again we shall exceed this number. More than 20,000 units will be sold, and also the summertime has also supported us to produce tractors. Don't you ask me what 20,000 plus would mean. This is something that I might be able to tell you at the end of this year, but also for the year ahead, I think we will increase it to 24 to 25,000 units. Would you please briefly elaborate on the obstacles? I mean, why is it that we don't achieve the growth that we would want to see? Well, the third year into the COVID-19 crisis means the third year in which we have had supply chain issues. And on the first chart, you can nicely see that this is the tip of the iceberg. So actually, basically speaking, it relates to semiconductors, to chips, which of course in our technologies are used in tractors and combines. And time and again we have seen bottlenecks. So that means also the prices have gone up by a factor of hundreds. And this, so we offer these products in the spot market. So this picture also clearly indicates indicators like the difficulties in the port of Shanghai. So we had to get used to it. And as a perspective, I mean, for the next 24 months, basically speaking, we will have to continue to cope with this. But it's the third year into the crisis. We have well adjusted and we shall manage it properly. Now, the attack of Russia on Ukraine means that in Europe and in Germany, we are facing yet another situation which relates to gas. And current numbers would indicate that the gas storage facilities are filled by 80%. How would you assess this topic for both the industry and for Fendt? Before providing an answer to this question, let me clearly state that we ourselves at AGCO, at Fendt, also consider this brutal war of aggression on Ukraine as something terrible which we condemn. And of course, this is something that needs to stop. Of course, gas is an issue. But prior to talking about gas, let me also state that over the past few years, we have made major and substantial investments in renewable and alternative energies, photovoltaics, for instance, in Marktoberdorf, for instance. We are also connected to a large biofuel plant, so that means the normal ambient temperature is not the very issue for us. As a matter of course, however, we would also need gas in order to solve some processes in operation, so the hardening shop, the paint shop. We are in a process of finding alternatives, LNG, electricity, but also heating oil. So together with our engineers, we've been working on it, and we also believe that we shall be able to solve this in due time. However, let me also clearly state that gas is not a Fendt and AGCO issue, but it is an economic issue for Europe as a whole, and also the gas storage of 100% would not be sufficient to also lead us through winter if there's yet another scarcity of gas. Now, from production to the product, and here again the question is, how does the Fendt full line segment develop across all the European markets? And of course, let's get started with tractor. Now, all the sales markets have developed absolutely positively, and this is also a success from the boom of agriculture and high proceeds. Europe continues to be our strongest market globally, apart from the growth markets which were described. We are still at 190,000 units of sales without Turkey currently at 0 HP. So we are doing very nicely here. This year our market share will be increased again by about 1% as of 80 HP. So that means we will be at 13.1, 13.2%. I mean, from 340 HP alone, we would now have a market share of 30% even. And this year, 7.2% have been seen. Still, the largest sales market continue to be France, Germany, UK, Spain, Italy, and Poland. And I mean, this is our backbone. And for the year ahead, Eric, I think our target is 11% of market share as of 0 HP, or 15% market share across Europe as of 80 HP. And when thinking about that, then 1 out of 6 or 7 tractors next year has got to be a Fendt tractor. Now, this brings me to the telescopic loaders. How has this developed? Well, again, in this field, fact, we are very happy to have the cooperation with Sennebogen, a premium machine manufacturer, family-owned business from Bavaria. The symbiosis is excellent. We cover the agricultural field. Sennebogen is in charge of engineering the new model 7 meters 4 tons. That's an excellent fit, lifting cabin, a comfort premium benefit, and we would assume that over the next few years we shall be able to have a mid-three-digit sales number for the telescopic load. And what about harvesting technology and combines? Now, of course, combines, the ideal, that's our beacon, the ideal 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are fully and properly established in the market. The year 2022 has comprehensively indicated that the performance and reliability of the machine is absolutely guaranteed. Now we have had a record harvest grade more than 11 tons, so an excellent result. More than 500 ideal in the market, more than 200 machines have been sold, and ideal also with the cooperation with Gröblinghoff, we would clearly state 10 meters. That's our performance, and also on drapes. So we are properly equipped for the future. Of course, ideal, that's our core competence, and Roland shall talk about that. But we have also made investments in also the straw walker. So that's ideal. So that's our future in the arable industry. Now let's take a closer look at application technology. What's new? Now when it comes to application engineering, AGCO now clearly focuses on the self-propelled machines. We have 3 platforms. 2 are dedicated to Fendt alone. Out there you would see the R900 with the high clearance, in particular when it comes to sunflowers and maize. And in Europe we mainly sell the R600, which we build in Hohenmölsen, sales figures of up to 200 units. In Germany we have a market share of more than 30%, in France 17%, and in Czech Republic 22%. So that means we are doing excellently with this product, and we shall continue to provide new technologies such as spot sprayer. Now let's take a look at harvest technology, and here I would like to focus on mowers, tedders and drakes. Feucht, close to Nuremberg, that's our competence center for harvest machines, and over the past few years we have done our homework, and so more than 10 million have been invested mainly in production and quality, because here again we had to carefully listen to the expectations of our Fendt customers. Fendt needs to be in, as it says, Fendt on a label, and this is something that we have also evidenced this year. Our harvesting machines now have a proper Fendt quality level now, which is on an equal footing with the tractors. Now for the future we would like to increase it to 10, 11, 12,000 units at the Feucht location. And what are the steps to be taken in this respect? Of course, we have to make investments in the professional technology, so that means we also have contractors involved, but of course we also have to make investments in the broad-based ranges for the future. Harvesting technology, and so that's also a project which is dear to you, which is the Fendt Katana. Yes, that's a matter which is very dear to me, the forage harvester. That's the Katana 850. So now we have 2 models, 650 and 850 HP. Both are now available in the marketplace. That's excellent. And many critics once said, I mean, do we actually take the Katana seriously at Fendt? And let me clearly state, and this is a challenge thanks to Eric, and thank you for all the trust and confidence that you placed in us. A comprehensive budget has been earmarked for this in 2020, and so let me clearly state the new generation of Katana 2.0 was started last year. Though don't you worry, it won't be available this year, next year, but let's say in the second half of this decade it will be made available in the global fields. This brings me to 2 products that are currently produced in Wolfenbüttel, round balers and loading wagons. Let's get started with the round balers. The round balers were taken over by Lilly and Weyler in 2017, and so that clearly is one of the best or the best round baler in the market. So that means the belt balers, but also the wrapper combination. That is excellent in Germany. More than 5,000 units are being produced for the group as a whole. And so that's our core competence. Also, by the way, as far as the Wolfenbüttel location is concerned, we have made substantial investments in order to comply with current requirements. And also that's the new home for our loading wagon. As of September, beginning of October, we shall start to also produce the loader wagon in Wolfenbüttel. I would like to kindly invite you on the 14th of October. The first Tiger will leave the assembly line, and then, of course, more than 300 loading wagons will be produced there. Even so, a renowned German manufacturer from Westphalia has taken the decision to really leave the loading wagon segment, but we shall continue to work in this segment. Now, when taking a look at this chart, then you can clearly see that substantial investments are made by Fendt in the German sites. Would you tell us why this is? Well, actually, this is very much in line with what the two previous speakers, Hansotia and Torsten Dehner, mentioned. This is our expansion. Now, earlier on, Fendt Global Full Line Growth was mentioned, and so this can't be done based upon current production capacities. No, I have just calculated that at the German sites together, it's 86 million, but over the next 12 months, this process will be completed, and this will be invested in German manufacturing sites. Markt Oberdorf, 100 million, Markt Oberdorf, more than 140,000 transmissions will be produced, but also Karlsbach-Beumenhof, our global cap center, 30 million will also be very much in line with that. So that's great indeed. It's great that we have taken this approach, and also we have to ensure a proper occupational safety for our employees. Let's also take a closer look at investments, but let's now focus on R&D. And Eric already mentioned it. AGCO makes major investments. What about Fendt? I do remember the economic formula. Today's investments are the profits of tomorrow. And I think that's kind of the headline, the guiding motive. So in 2016, 60 million was spent, and now annually in 2022, it's almost 120 million euros. So that means it's a doubling of the overall budget of the past few years. And of course, investments both in steel and iron, but also investments in electronics, digitization, and also a proper connection of the machines have been made. Investments in the sites, but also investments in the machines means that we wish to sell our machines and the interface with the customer, that's the dealers. Now, what's new when it comes to sales and distribution? Well, distribution is also a matter which is very dear to me, and there are two great news. As you can see on the screen, first it's Hungary. Now, for many years, or even decades, I should say, we have had AGCO as our distribution partner. Now, they have created a new subsidiary called Vario. I think that's a great one as well. And also, Vario is the subsidiary of AGCO, and this allows us to also acquire the Fendt full-line sales in Hungary. I would like to thank the Hashani family, a great corporate company that places a lot of trust and confidence in us and makes investments. And Scholt Hashani, I would like to kindly thank you for your efforts. Second, and also that's brand new, even though you might have reported on it, there's a company in Emsland that really got going, so they also provided the information up front, but that's a different matter altogether. So that's Agravis, the second largest business partner for us globally. So again, they took the decision, basically speaking, large areas in Germany, but they would also operate in Poland, to also include the Fendt full-line range. And Agravis has a distribution channel of Fendt Valtra, but here again, the overall Fendt full-line portfolio will be integrated exclusively till the end of 2024, the latest. And again, I would like to thank the new CEO, Jörg Sutthoff, who also was mainly involved in the architecture of the new company. So we have made progress, and this is also also something that makes me really very happy. So dealers believe in us and they invest in us, just as mentioned by you, Torsten, when it comes to Brazil and North America. Now, to conclude, let's take about yet another topic which is important for the industry as a whole, but also for us as a company. We've been looking into this for a few years now. We do have a sustainability strategy here at Fendt. Now, my question is, why would companies need such a sustainability strategy, and why does Fendt needs to manage things sustainably? Sustainability here at Wadenbrunn, as we just heard, as of the end of May, there's been hardly any rain. So we do see the climate change. Today we have temperatures of almost 35 degrees. And thus, this is a topic which is very important for us. We have developed a sustainability strategy which is based upon 6 pillars. The first pillar is that we have actually need to make an effort to have sustainable supply chain, end-to-end change. That includes logistics too. Second, we need to have production sites that are efficient, and hopefully at some point in time they might also have a climate-neutral production. By the way, Bäumenheim and Marktoberdorf by 2023 will be CO2 neutral according to this core 2 guidelines. Thus, we would be the first in our industry to go for this. Third, we need to focus on our employees. When talking about a war of talents, and of course, we need to focus even more on our employees, because otherwise we wouldn't have such great machines here. The fourth topic, the fourth pillar, that's our pillars that of course make a major contribution to sustainability, and Roland will touch upon the details. The fifth pillar now is that we have a close dialogue with farmers in order to also have sustainability in the value chain. And the next one is our social commitment. More than 50% of the total European population would live in urban areas. They do no longer live in rural areas. So what we need to do is to make sure that they are much more familiar with agricultural machine, so that they would have a raised awareness. Eric, you just mentioned the E100 will be ahead of us. In 2024, a series production will start, 80 HP, and here the sales of the E100 in the total European and even global market will be seen of more than 1,000 units. The E100 also will be produced in Marktoberdorf on the very same assembly line. And the second thing, that's the picture of the diorama. So that's a project of Lower Saxony together with the government and some universities in Lower Saxony. What this is all about is that we have a sustainable generation of hydrogen, which basically speaking will then also be utilized in the tractors. In the lower right-hand corner, you can see a picture from development. There were now 700 units were equipped with hydrogen tanks on the roofs. And also here you can see the fuel cell. So that means these machines, as a matter of fact, over the next couple of weeks and months, will be used in practice and will also be tested by farmers in Lower Saxony. So that's just one example of what we've been doing. Thank you very much for these statements, Mr. Gröblinghoff. I'm sure that you all have a number of questions on that, which will be answered after the next presentation by Roland Schmidt. Roland Schmidt, the Vice President Fendt Marketing, is now going to introduce what all the technical journalists are most interested in. So, new Fendt products. Now, when looking out of the tent, you can also see them on the left-hand side.
Well, and I'm also happy, like every year, to present the technical novelties from the Fendt full line. And of course, also this year, like in previous years, I'm going to start with full line, and in this particular case with green harvesting. Now, with 2023, Fendt, for example, also puts it on a new footing. We are using the new cutter bar, which has a great robustness because we have fairly large gears, which would then turn very slowly, which ensure quiet operation and longevity. And something else that I should mention is that with the slicer mowers, of course, the passage was increased so that the performance of the new slicers, of course, works excellently, no matter the situation. As an option, this new mower can also be equipped with an eco mode with only 850 rotations per minute, which, when it comes to consumption per hectare, of course, would help us save a lot of fuel. Moreover, the green harvest machines, that is to say mowers, and that is also tedders and what have you, will be generally with 2023 equipped with a high performance two-layer varnishing. So it is a top-notch varnish quality, and this paint quality will not only increase the value of the new machines, but of course, as the machine is replaced, this will also have a positive effect onto the price level of the used machine. Now, when it comes to round balers, there's also something new to mention. Round balers, as Christoph announced and said, they come from our plant and factory in Wolfenbüttel. Now, before I actually talk about this, let me make the following point. The round baler business, right from the start, has been great fun for us. Since 2017, that is to say, during the past 5 years, we had more than 5,000 of these balers that we put into the marketplace. And of course, it delivers what a typical Fendt customer expects. What is new for the 2023 line is a performance increase, that is to say, a Pro package for our Extra version. And maybe in a nutshell, I can say that in the future, with this Pro package, the baler controls the Vario to provide relief to the driver. Now, what are the functions that are automated based on the TIM standard? Now, of course, it recognizes once the chamber is full, it stops. The tractor automatically initiates the binding and wrapping process. Then, of course, the tailgate opens, the baler is ejected, it is closed automatically, and all that the driver has to do is to send a signal to the tractor when, for example, more material can be picked up. And then there are two smart features which I believe are very interesting. On the one hand, we have sensors that are installed in the baler to capture the weight of the bale. So in a fully automated fashion, I can document the weight of each and every bale and also the moisture content. And I believe in times of climate change and also, of course, the situation we are confronted with, it is important that we actually ensure the forage and the fodder quality. And this is really, really interesting that we can, and interesting aspects that we offer. The key machine in the Pro range is, of course, the self-propelled chopper. Now, the even higher throughput with the smaller windows of harvesting, this is what it allows and ensures. And this is a market segment of the large machines, which has considerably increased in recent years. And with the Katana 850, Fendt this year provides a solution which lives up to these requirements also in the future. So the new, of course, requirements will be in place. The 850 horsepower and the engine installed is realized based on a 6-cylinder engine with 18 liters from Liebherr, so it is a new engine provider in our portfolio. And maybe just one additional comment with that, with the new Katana 850 based on a 6-cylinder engine, we as Fendt offer the highest performance in such a machine. Now, what is the benefit of this engine in this field chopper? Well, there are actually two aspects to be mentioned. On the one hand, the engine, of course, has great accessibility due to exhaust gas recirculation and particulate filters. So as you open the bonnet, you will be surprised how accessible the engine is. And of course, in times of high fuel prices, in monetary terms, it is even more important to mention that we have very good low fuel consumption. Now, from these components, the frame, the aggregation, and so on, everything was reinforced and improved so that even the heaviest attachment, the 450 plus, which is 4 tons in weight, can easily be handled. And as in this example, 12 rows of maize can be harvested. Now, when it comes to crop flow, that is to say, whatever follows after this attachment, of course, we use the proven technology and, of course, the greatest drum in the marketplace, because this is a system that out in the field and at customers who need, for example, the basics in order to operate their biogas plants, and they do need a very clean cut, and this is what this system realizes. The Katana 850, however, has also 2 smart features that I would like to mention. On the one hand, the 850 for the very first time can be equipped with a near sensor, which means that is to say the dry mass content and weight per hectare can be documented in a fully automated fashion. On the other hand, and this is also due to the ejection path, we can use the fill control and can fill it automatically. That is to say, even with trailers that are very high, that you cannot look inside, by operating the flap, you can actually also partially operate this process and automate this process. Now, after green harvesting, I would like to move on to combines. And Christoph Gröblinghoff mentioned it already. After years of fully focusing on the ideal, our large scale, we now for the series 2023, we actually did something at the lower end. That is to say, before I actually get into the technical details, let me say how important, for example, this straw walker segment is. With the total market of 10,000 combines in Europe, the share of the straw walker combines is 65%. In absolute numbers, 6,500 units. So this is almost 2/3. And for that, it is clear that in order to support our exclusive strategy in the dealer, we do need a high-performance straw walker range in order to be successful in the marketplace. Now, the new series is called Corus. 5, the first digit, is the number of the walkers, and the 2 other numbers, 26, is the engine performance. So 62 horsepower, the new top-notch model in the Corus line. Now, the Corus in the future will replace our E-Series. When it comes to threshing systems, or the focus has been on a robust technology which we maintained, but of course in terms of throughput, obviously the additional horsepower installed will also ensure that the performance of the machine is much higher than in case of the E-Series. When it comes to the workplace, that is to say man-machine interface, quite a lot has changed. Now, for the very first time, we implemented an armrest, a joystick, and also an onboard computer. Now, with that, that is to say, within the straw walkers and at the lower end of the range, and by the way, we do see the same number of products sold. There is a trend in order to increase the level of automation and to also use your own equipment. And we do see this in our range as well. This takes me to novelties in tractors, and obviously everything is about the new 700, the 7th generation. Now, just one comment. We already launched and presented this in a virtual fashion to the public, and it was most impressive to see the interest on the social media for this particular vehicle. Yesterday, while we had our show live here in Wadenbrunn and presented it to the representatives of the press, 34,000 visitors online that were following this event, showing how much interest there is in the marketplace. Now, before I actually focus on the technical details, let me provide you with some feedback. In 1998, for the very first time, we presented the 700, and it has been a bestseller in our portfolio ever since. More than 90,000 tractors sold to the very day of this Fendt 700. And I think in most cases, clients and customers were perfectly satisfied with it. Now, the new 700 What is special about it? Now, we cover the range of 200 to 300 horsepower. That is to say, we have 5 models, and I would like to start with the technical presentation, and that, of course, is the engine, which is the most important aspect in piece. Now, we use a brand new engine, which is an AGCO power engine, that is to say, our sister brand, and for the very first time ever, it was installed in a tractor, and is actually also put into the market exclusively for Fendt. AP75 is the line, and the 75 means 7.5 liters, and with that, the new engine is the strongest engine in this performance range ever used in a tractor globally. Now, this large volume engines form the basis of our Fendt ID, high torque, low speed concept. So it is one of the first uses, and we get the feedback that this engine is so sturdy and stable, the most modern in the marketplace. And maybe 2 more things. The maximum torque of 1,450 Newton meters is really quite something, and we realized it at 1,300 rotations per minute, so or revolutions per minute. So this is something you have to get used to, but everybody who has used it is excited. On top, for the new top model 728 Vario, we also have our intelligent and smart performance system, Fendt Dynamic Performance, which of course can add another 20 horsepower so as to slightly exceed the 300 limit. If you, for example, take a look at the new 700, you see that, of course, it is very compact, and this is also due to the fact that we have this fan that we integrated. Now, just like with the 1000, we do have this pressure fan that is driven hydraulically, and the diameter of this fan is only 56 centimeters. And this entire design, of course, ensures 2 benefits. On the one hand, this fan concept is extremely efficient compared with the classical approaches. Now, this is an efficiency increase to the tune of 40%, and everybody can imagine that 40% improvement or efficiency increase for the fan, for the cooling system, of course, will impact fuel consumption in a very positive way. The other positive benefit of the design is that as a driver, you get in the cab, you actually look forward, you also see your front-end attachment, you have a great overview. So if we were to compare, it is absolutely exclusive to this new tractor. And this is also why we present it. Apart from the clear view and all-round view that you get, we also have a very high turning angle and therefore allow for perfect maneuverability. And this is something that is exclusive to this range. So together with this pull and turn effect, that is to say the smart and intelligent concept, you are actually immediately drawn into the next track. So that is an interesting USP, which is very positive. And what is not only the engine and the cooling systems are new, but also the Vario drive, which is the latest generation, and we call it TA190. So that is to say, from the front end all the way to the back, including the rear axle, the entire drive line was redesigned and redeveloped, and at the same time. And the benefit of that is that we have a continuous concept, which in terms of compactness, but also efficiency, say in fuel consumption, will definitely become the new benchmark throughout the industry. And beyond that, the compact design offers more benefits than that. So let me just mention that with the new TA190, for the very first time, we have a one-stage approach in transmission, which means completely stageless all the way to a maximum of 60 kilometers per hour that can be realized, and the intelligent all-wheel management which completely automatically switches all-wheel drive on and off without the driver even noticing, is another novelty to this performance range. And as I've said before, cost of fuel cost of €2 or $2 per litre, each and every percent that we implement any improvement will count. And of course, we do have first test results which prove that within this power range we are reaching out to conquer new dimensions. Now, by the highly integrated design, the 700 also has an extremely compact packaging. If you look at the gauge in this case, you will see that it is 2.90 meters. And if you look at the proportions as well, on the rear axle, the wheels and tires have a diameter of 2.5 meters, 164 the front axle. Now, this is a highly integrated compact vehicle, and this compact design forms the basis for another highlight, which is the performance weight. That is to say, the empty weight versus installed. For the 728, which is the top-notch model, has a 30.5 kilogram per horsepower. 30.5 kilograms per horsepower. Of course, this is quite something. And if you then look at how when we look at the empty weight, the laden, unladen, and full weight, and it is 8.8 tons, less than 9 tons. And at the same time, we have a payload of 6.2 tons in addition, so the maximum admissible weight is 15 tons. Now, so the entire design and also the dimensions make the tractor not only extremely agile, but it is also great fun to use it on the roads, but also it is a highlight in terms of reducing the soil compaction and the pressure onto the soil. Now, this all makes perfect sense. Low empty weight, larger tires that we can use, and last but not least, for the 9700, the new 700, our integrated Vario grip system is available ex-works. And I believe it is once more the entire package that showcases the uniqueness of this vehicle and gives, in fact, proof of that. And I think for anybody who works in the practical environment, it is so obvious. It is not only technology for the sake of technology, but it is for the sake of our customers and clients. Of course, the flexibility, and also in terms of flexibility, the 700 Vario is the new benchmark. Now, maybe some more technical features at this point. I mentioned weight already. Now, when it comes to the hydraulic system, we have a maximum of 220 liters maximum. And I believe that for the very first time, we actually worked on all the hydraulic interfaces, the flathead couplings, and that is a quantum leap for the benefit of sustainability, because this is a leakage oil-free coupling of the connections. In terms of speed, we offer 3 options. One is 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers, but for the very first time with a 700, even 60 kilometers per hour. Last but not least, and you see it right here, there's also a front loader available. It is not something that we used. It's a completely new generation of front loaders. And some impressive information. It has a maximum lifting power of 9.3 tons, almost 4 tons, 3.9, almost 4 tons, that is, and a height of 4.85 meters. And we also can offer some smart functions, such as the position-independent weighing of ballast and weights that we take on, no matter whether it's pallet or else. Beyond this, the new 700 is actually the yardstick when it comes to using smart technology. Now, the 700, obviously, in terms of the workplace, has the best there is out there, namely the Fendt One Workplace. And we already heard about it. It is not only a topic of the cab, and that you can actually complete your task in the cab. But it becomes more and more important that you can plan the task properly, and that you would actually, without USB stick and wireless, would get them to the machine, and after you've completed your task, again in a wireless fashion, can report it back to the office. So with the launch of the 700, we will have a high-performance Fendt 1 package that we will present, and together with the 700, we will roll it out to the core markets. And now we can say that the new 700 is a more than timely answer and response to many requirements worldwide against the backdrop of sustainability and CO2 reduction. Now, it's the only combination, a unique combination, which makes the Vario unique in its performance range, also focusing on many criteria, setting a yardstick indeed. We mentioned it already that this is the North American row crop version, and you see that we also have a Momentum 16 that we attach, that is to say a 16 row precision drill. And this is our package, which of course we will show as part of the Farm Progress Show starting in North America next week. So we are excited to present it next week, and I'm sure the farmers there will be excited about this highly attractive package. And with this information, I would like to give back to the stage.
Herzlichen Dank, Roland Schmidt.
Roland Schmidt, a cordial thank you to you. So that's been a truly live demo. So it will just take a little while for him to get back on stage. And now I would like to kindly ask the Fendt AGCO management to join me on stage so that we can provide answers to your questions. Let me first state that we shall allow for questions from the audience, but also online questions. So there will be a mix of online and offline questions. Now, if you've got any questions, please raise your hand. Someone will approach you with a microphone. Would you please be kind enough and stand and also use the microphone and ask your questions? Now let's get started right away. Well, the first question, please.
Bitte.
Just go ahead.
Hello, Gert-Jan from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I've got a question about the computer hack that was AGCO, the experienced computer hack or software attack this year. I was wondering, can you tell me a little bit what are the effects of that hack at the moment, and what did you do to get over it?
Sure, I can take that one. So we were attacked by a very professional cyber organization called Black Bass that was linked to the Russian military, essentially. And they attacked us on May 5th. We, on our own, shut down all of our own systems to stop that bad-acting virus to moving around within the systems of the company. We did that to ourselves. It was a ransomware attack. We paid no ransom. Then we applied all of our internal people, our engineers and our IT people, to start working through the solutions, and we got some help from other companies that were real experts in the field. In a matter of a few days, we got all of our factories back up and running, all of our systems back operational, and today we're in an even more robust status than we were going into the cyber attack. So it was an unfortunate issue, but it's behind us, and we're healthier now than we were going into it.
Weitere Fragen? Sepp Keller.
Any further questions, Sepp Kellerer? Mr. Gröblinghoff, you talked about the supply chains, and out there in the field, time and again, people tell us that many Fendt tractors would not be available because there's a lack of parts and components. What is the current situation and what is the future development? Mr. Keller, thank you very much for your question. As just presented, very often the response times of our suppliers are very brief, 6 or 7 working days ahead. Renowned companies would all of a sudden tell us that some components cannot be supplied. But on a management, we coordinated this effort and said we shall continue production. So very often or sometimes we would produce tractors in which some parts are missing, like a chip or equipment parts. And this would also mean that we had a stock level which was very high, but now during the last 4 weeks of the summer holiday, we were able to almost fully reduce it down to zero. If we had not done it, more than 2,000 tractors wouldn't have been built and would not have been made available in the marketplace. I think 3 years ago, this wouldn't have been conceivable. But now this is the implication of global supply chains which would not work properly. We would also assume that these chip-related bottlenecks will also continue to be around for another 2 years, but thus we have been able to manage this topic properly. Now, just one online question which was raised. When it comes to the new 700 Vario series, no Deutz engine is used. Would you please tell us why this is and why have you opted for the AGCO power engine, Mr. Walter, head of development? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Together with EcoPower, we were able to produce a brand new engine from scratch. So we are one of the few companies in the industry to launch a brand new engine in the market with an excellent fuel consumption performance as described by Roland Schmidt. And this was also the reason why we have launched an eco engine. Now, just one second question from the UK. Good morning. What I'd like to know is that the Fendt 1 cap, when will it be made available for the Fendt Rogator 600? Mr. Schmidt. Well, I do understand this question very well, and that's not just for the Rogator 600, but for all the full-line machines which are not yet equipped with this. Now, we have already addressed these issues. We are working on it because from the farmer's point of view, it's absolutely understandable and logical, but it will still take some time. Now, any further questions from the audience so that you shall have ample opportunity to ask any questions you might have. Just a sec. You will be given the microphone, and would you please stand up? Michelle Benker, Schleswig-Holstein.
About autonomous driving systems, and I'm interested in hearing what are you planning? When will we see them on the fields? And what are the current obstacles you have to go through?
Eric.
Yes, please. So there's a lot of discussion and buzz and energy about autonomy. We clearly believe that for certain segments of the market, autonomous machines will have a role to play. Unfortunately, today, there's still a lot of things that the farmer does in that cab. They're still adjusting and making sure that the machine is operating at its highest performance. So our focus in the short term is on automating features. We believe step by step, like I talked about earlier, creating smart features that the machine can run in autopilot mode, where the machine can make its own decisions, is where our primary investment is. That helps the farmer today be more productive today. They're also stepping stones to full autonomy, because there's no value. Today, technically, we can sell an autonomous tractor. We've had that in our programs for several years already. So that problem is already solved. The issue is that we still need the operator in the cab for many other functions. So our primary focus is automating features on the road to autonomy. You've seen the Zauber program, where we've publicly shown multiple robots, electrically driven, autonomously operated, working in a swarm to be able to complete a task. So technically we can solve it. We're working on automating the features.
Weitere Fragen? Dann bitte ein Handzeichen.
Any further questions by show of hands, please?
Hallo, Arend-Jan Romsma aus den Niederlanden.
Aaron Ronsman from the Netherlands. You just briefly touched upon the attack of Russia on Ukraine. What are the consequences in terms of the trade with Ukraine and Russia? Eric, you might want to provide an answer for the group.
Yes, so we stand solidly behind our customers and our dealers and all people involved in agriculture in Ukraine. We've actually got a special program within the company to lean into that market, do extra steps to make sure that we're helping however is possible. We've sent extra people in to help set up planters, even in those areas that are essentially in a conflict zone. We've been supporting our employees by relocating to new locations. Same thing with our dealers. We've been making sure we're getting service parts flowing smoothly into the market. Same thing with machines. So across the entire business, we're doing all we can to help those in agriculture in Ukraine survive in the challenging times. It's a team sport, and we're all in.
David, ich würde gerne einmal noch eine Frage wieder im Mix bringen.
David, now first a question from the chat. Now, Fendt, Mr. Gröblinghoff mentioned that more than 1,000 employees have been recruited at Fendt. So the question is how to win over women at Fendt. Now I'd like to ask Mrs. Busjäger. Thank you for AGCO, but also for Fendt. Recruiting and retaining women is a very important topic indeed. It's a great honor that globally for AGCO I have headed this initiative. As far as Fendt is concerned, we have seen quite a number of great initiatives, like the Women's Career Day. We would invite female students of the technical professions to spend a day with us in order to experience this Fendt spirit, and we have been very successful in recruiting such female employees. But also when it comes to interviews, when it comes to flexible working models, we would specifically focus on female employees. David Williams.
David Williams from Farmer's Guide magazine in the UK. Looking at sustainability and alternative fuels, how long does the panel think it will be before we see Fendt tractors with hydrogen power units commercially available? What are the current main limitations? And also, following on from that, do you think that the politicians within Europe are aware of the potential of this alternative fuel, and are they doing enough to invest in the infrastructure to support it for the future?
Gerne weiter, Wagner.
Okay. Ja.
Now, you have mentioned a number of different issues. What we need is an infrastructure in terms of hydrogen production for our customers. Here you can clearly see the model as well. Now, we are just at the very beginning of this development process of hydrogen technology together with fuel cells, but we are well on our way. So that means the first fuel cell-based tractors will be presented to our customers. So it's 2 vehicles that have been produced as part of the H2 Agrar project. On top of that, 2 machines are being developed in order to promote fundamental research in this respect. Yet another question here in the front.
Francesco Bartolozzi from Italy. Always about sustainability. You also mentioned the E100 tractor. Could you tell us something more about it? What will happen in the next years?
Ja, der E100 ist das erste.
The E100 is the first project which was launched by Fendt, and we actually started to have a fully electrified tractor in the lowest end of the market. So the tractor will have about 80 horsepower, and you would assume that the tractor will be used in municipalities, in vineyards, in greenhouses, but also as a yard tractor. It will have a performance at a full battery performance of 4 to 5 hours under a continuous operation. Loading is very speedy. It's a 700-volt technology, and that for us is the first approach to be taken. So it is closely coordinated with Walter Wagner and his development team. We would like to take it one step further, and also when it comes to the future battery technologies, we would like to investigate it into the range of up to 150 HP. There might even be an E300 at some point in time. That would indeed be feasible. Then again, questions that we received online. Now the question is as follows. Amongst the most recent acquisitions, are there any companies that are particularly important for the future of Fendt? And as this is a global question, I would like to give the floor to Torsten Dehner. I think it's not just one company, but it's the sum of creative, innovative companies that we have acquired over the past few years, and also the partnerships that we have embarked on, because I believe the risks and opportunities of agriculture and our Fendt customers relate to new precision farming opportunities. It relates to sustainability. We've heard it all, and we need to have a higher bandwidth in order to come up with creative solutions, which of course will also be mainly used and launched in the Fendt premium brand. Thank you.
One question that many people here in this room have, and it was posted online, why is the Fendt 700 Vario Gen.7 still be available? Mr. Schmidt. Okay, yeah, I can take this question. It is really easy to explain. It is really the engine power, because today's 700 covers from 140 to 240 horsepower. That is the range it covers. The new Generation 7 from 200 to 300 horsepower. So we do need, of course, from the 150 to 200 horsepower, we will need the super tried and tested vehicle, and from 200 to 240 we will actually go in parallel, and customers can either opt for the lighter tractor, or if they have heavier applications, the other one, or the upper end with the 728 and 26. We close the gap between the 240 and 300 horsepower. And maybe one more point, both vehicles have the top modern Fendt One workplace, so that it is absolutely the right choice in any case. Yeah, and with that, I would like to move on to the last question that we received online. And that is for Mr. Hansotia. What would you say are the trends in North America that also impact the trends in the different markets at Fendt?
You know, North America is really similar to the farmers all around the world. There's not enough grain in the world today. And so farmers are under amazing pressure to be able to produce more. Prices are high, and so it's stimulating their draw for higher yields. But at the same time, almost all of their input costs, fertilizer, chemical, diesel fuel, labor, are all getting more expensive. So they're very thirsty for those precision ag technologies that allow them to have higher yields and lower inputs. And the North America market is following Europe and the other markets in a drive for exponential growth and sustainability. The role of the farmer is going to become critical in not only reducing the amount of emissions created, but also through different farming practices and new technology, capturing the carbon dioxide that's in the air through the photosynthesis of the plant, sequestering or trapping that carbon down in the soil. Farmers have a huge role here. And one of the things AGCO is looking for is how to help them through that transition, make it quick and easy, so that they can change how they farm and get some monetary benefit from it. Same thing as other places in the world.
Damit würde ich jetzt hier die letzte Frage aus dem Publikum.
With that, I would also like to allow for one last question, because it's really hot in here, and we also, or you have the opportunity to ask questions outside, because all the experts will be there. The Fendt management is here, and you can also have one-on-one interviews. I noticed there was somebody showing that they requested to speak. Yes, Mr. Gröblinghoff, you talked about a ramp-up time of 10 to 11 months. If I've understood Mr. Hansotia properly, then we see price increases that nobody can anticipate. So what does it mean for the purchase price or for the sales price for the buyer, which means the farmer for their calculation or even yours? Well, of course, you are touching upon a very important and exciting question, which is one that affects us all throughout the industry, be it in consumer goods, be it that we produce cars or agricultural machinery. We also experience the increase in input cost in a way that we cannot anticipate. That is to say, steel price increases where we have seen almost more than a duplication within 4 months. Now these prices are coming down again. I already said this before. saw that sometimes we have to pay 100 times the price for chips compared with the pre-COVID-19 times. Yesterday, the spot market price for gas was almost around €300 in Rotterdam. Now, obviously, this makes it extremely difficult and a true challenge to both anticipate the input cost and to somehow actually reflect that in the product. There is no true mechanism for that to arrive at that, and we cannot price blindly and charge prices which are unrealistic. But it is a true challenge for us, and also for us as entrepreneurs to strike a balance between the increasing cost on the one hand, but at the same time to also be aware of what is affordable for our customers. So this is the balance we are trying to strike every day and every week. Well, if you do have further questions, of course, our team is ready for you and available, and I would like to invite you to actually take a look at the machines outside in the field. There are men and women experts available to you, and with that, I would like to close the discussion. Now, the press material is now released also through the online tool, and with that, I would like to say thank you very much also on behalf of the panel for showing all this interest in our brand and products, and I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.